What it do, what it do, what it do. This is your boy, KQKC Boxing Network, throwing down on another video. If you haven't subscribed to KQKC, make sure you subscribe right now. And that way you get notified by hitting the bell icon every time I do a live stream or a video. Now, let's get into this video. None other than former WBO 135-pound titleist Jamel Harrington has been kicked out of the B&B and the trainer Brian McIntyre stable of fighters. Now, pretty much he kicked him out for trust issues. Now, of course, the former 130-pound titleist is from New York, but he will no longer be working with trainer of none other than WBO welterweight titleist Bud Crawford, and that's Brian McIntyre. But the decision was not mutual. Trust me, it was not mutual. According to Harrington, McIntyre was the one who first indicated to him that working together would no longer be a viable option and suggested to Harrington that he should find another trainer. Now, I will tell you this, that Brian McIntyre has been very unprofessional for a long time by calling the fighters out of their names, calling fighters very derogatory words, and making derogatory statements about other fighters, mainly Earl the Truth Spence Jr. Now, of course, Brian McIntyre is not the sharpest crayon in the box. We know that. That's why Terrence Crawford was in the position that he was in. And yes, it's a little bit too late for him now, but early on, if he had someone around him, besides kissing his ass, that would pretty much be saving his ass. If he had someone around him that knew the business of boxing, if he had someone around him that was all about boxing and not pretty much fame and McDonald's, then he probably would have left Top Rank years earlier and never would have resigned. This is what I'm talking about, people. This is what I'm talking about. I've been talking about for a year and a half. If Bud Crawford had the people around him that Spence had, Andre Ward had, Floyd Mayweather was pretty much his own man, but you have to have people around you that gonna tell you the truth, gonna tell you that you are wrong, not agree with everything you say. That's not a friend. That's not a smart business move, agreeing with everything you say, no matter how ridiculous this shit sounds. But that's Brian McIntyre. That's Brian McIntyre that would sit there and keep a fighter out of his stable when he's in the middle of training camp. Because Jamel Harrington has a fight coming up in May. But Brian McIntyre is in his feelings, just like one of his fighters are. Now, you be the judge of that fighter that's always in his feelings. Now, as I move on, now, of course, this wasn't a mutual split. Now, of course, we all know that a fighter usually changes trainers, a la Tyson Fury, a la Adrian Broner. But also, in this case, you got a trainer that divorcing himself from the fighter. Very unprofessional, but that's Brian McIntyre. That's who he is. He's one of them gutter balls. He's not only a butterball, he's a gutter ball. So, therefore, the Southpaw Harrington, who's 36 years old, has been fighting great. He fought the likes of Carl Frampton. He fought the likes of Jonathan Quindo. And yes, he did fight Shakur Stevenson. And he lost that fight. It was a stoppage in the 10th round. That fight took place in Atlanta, Georgia. at the State Farm Arena. Now, of course, on the Chris Mannix podcast, Harrington said, the crazy thing is Bo Mack felt that I was actually best for us to go our separate ways. I had nothing to do but respect that. Wrong. No, you don't have to respect that. You see, now, of course, he acted professional. And he took the professional route. But Jamel Harrington will be working with another trainer. And we're all familiar with none other than Los Angeles-based Manny Roble. That's right. Manny Roble will be his new trainer. Now, keep in mind, Jamel Harrington is a U.S. Marine. He's also a 2012 Olympian based in Cincinnati now. So Manny Roble will be his trainer. They do have a prior relationship. So therefore, when they reach Brian McIntyre confirmed that he did indeed dismiss Harrington from his camp. But he also said it was because they did not appreciate Harrington withholding certain information from him. A few incidents led McIntyre to believe that there were significant trust issues at hand. Now, Brian McIntyre also said, I told him I did not want to work with him no more. What's the word I'm looking for? Okay. Now, but Brian McIntyre also said this. The first time I found out was through the media that some things was going on. I let it slide and by what he did. But the second time, instead of being a man and come talk to me about it, I had to find out almost pretty much the same way. I was like, we go our own way because obviously he doesn't trust me or the team or something like that. Man, for him to go out about business that way. Now, of course, in 2020, Harrington, who is managed by Jerry Casaro, signed an advisory deal with MTK Management, a global boxing firm founded by none other than Daniel Cunningham, who pretty much alleged that he was in the organized crime department. Now, as if Harrington's alliance with MTK was an example that led to the souring of the relationship, and McIntyre acknowledged that, hey, it did play a role. It's not clear if Harrington is still under contract with MTK. But that was something to do with it, McIntyre said. He believes that, yes, it was. That was one of those things. This was kind of the straw that broke the camel back. So there you go. Brian McIntyre, yes, he is a piece of shit. But Jamel Harrington will be moving on to bigger and better things. Now, I don't know about bigger, but he will be moving on to better things. So I wish Jamel Harrington luck. He's 36 years old, and yes, he still has a few fights left in him. And he also is a U.S. Marine. And I appreciate him supporting and defending this country. So with that, this and other news we will be discussing up in the next couple of days. So I am your boy, KQKC Boxing Network. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. And with that, I appreciate that. So with that, I'm out of here and I greet you. Oh, I greet you with the ancient word of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. I'm out.